We are live. Hey, Fab Girls. Welcome back to my Friday interview with other over 40 fashionistas in anticipation and expectation of really inspiring you and helping you to be the best that you can be. Today, I have a special treat for you. I'm going to introduce you to Sonia from Style Beyond Age. Sonia is a fascinating woman. She, first of all, was kind of almost accidentally born in Cape Town, which I quite liked since I'm a Cape Townian from South Africa. So she was born in Cape Town, grew up in Argentina, is actually Italian British combination, has been living in the US for a long time. She has traveled to over 20 countries, has been to 100 and I think 150 cities, and she has over 1,000 stories to tell. She has this fabulous blog on fashion, lifestyle, wellness, etc. It's really inspiring, and I'm super excited to hear her stories as she inspires you. So welcome, Sonia. So great to have you.
Hello, Tracy. Thanks for introducing me to your wonderful friends. I'm excited about this chat.
Fabulous. So, Sonia, tell me a little bit about your background. I mean, you have a fascinating background of living in various different countries and having such a mixture of experiences. How has that given you a different outlook on life and impacted how you live your life?
Well, I like to say that I'm a mutt. I joke around a lot about my experiences. As you mentioned in the intro, I was born in Cape Town and moved to Argentina at a very, very young age. And Buenos Aires at the time was a very, very, and still is really, cosmopolitan city. And it's built on the same architectural design as Paris. And the women there were fashionable, their clothes were custom made, everything came from Europe. So I had a very informed, fashion wise and culture wise upbringing. I was really very lucky. And I was also very lucky to come to the United States and do my residency and become a citizen. So, in the meantime, I have traveled all through South America. I learned Spanish and English at the same time. So who knows how I'm thinking, which brings me and everybody else some amusement at times or shock.
Yes.
So that's the story of that. We are British and Italian, and we migrated into South America and all over Europe, as so many people do. So that really informs you about other cultures, other ways of looking at things. And that's about it on that one.
Amazing. So tell us a story about how you started your blog.
Oh, well. So it's kind of funny in retrospect, but my husband had decided to retire, an American banker, had decided to retire in Montana. And we had had a house there in the mountains in front of the Flathead Lake for quite some time. And he decided he was going to be a mountain man for a while, which was great because it gave me the opportunity to build an addition to the house, which is my true passion is architecture. So I design and draw and build from scratch, and I'm very hands-on. So that's a whole other lifetime. So anyway, at 65, this large home was completed. I had moved all of my clothes that had been in storage for a year and a half into the wonderful closet that I had been unsupervised in building. So it became really fabulous. I hashtag the She Chateau. There are pictures of it, but don't dock me for my beautiful closet. After all, as I say, I was unsupervised.
Yes, I can imagine.
Well, men have their quote men cave, or man cave as they call it. So I took advantage of the opportunity. What is that saying? Ask forgiveness, not permission. That is an adage that I live by pretty regularly. Anyway,
I love that.
so it was the winter in Montana. All of our summer snowbird friend people had left for San Diego and Florida or wherever it is they live. And there I was with nobody to talk to. And the lake, which I love, I'm a big kayaker, etc. You can see that on my blog. had a big cloud hanging over me, or it, and me, Freudian slip. So, and I had nothing to do. So at that point in time, I really understood something about depression, and I really understood how not having the raison d'etre that we all need as people, or goal, or a project, it really taught me a lot about that. My daughter is a stylist in LA, and I was telling her about my dilemma, and she said, Mother, you need a hobby. And I said, Well, Serena, who's my stylist on the blog, by the way, and does a lot of the work that you see. If it's beautiful, she had something to do with it, but I digress. So I told Serena that I like to build as a hobby. And then Serena says, No, Mother, a cost effective hobby. And
Oh, how boring.
don't you hate it when your kids call your act? But anyway, I can listen to it. I hope. So we started playing around with Instagram, and I had never been on Facebook before. I'm fun. 18 months after I started my Instagram account, but I didn't like people knowing what I was doing or where I was going. I am not a public person, she says, with 27,000 plus followers on Instagram.
Exactly, exactly.
So it just goes to show you, you have to be like the willow in the wind and just go with the flow. So the way I approached Instagram, or a social media content based fashion and style blog, was I looked to see what was already available, which is my advice to everybody. You were talking in one of your podcasts about learning to niche down. Well, what I did was I pulled up what is out there for women in their 50s and 60s. Because though I'm 66 now, 67 in August, I still feel like I'm 9 or 10, but 45, let's pretend. So I was looking at women younger than myself and what they were posting. And I didn't see anything that was really relative to what I wanted to see. And that's when I slid onto that track. And my goal for my expression to women is I have found that aging is has to do with all sorts of things, but finding your passion is one of them. And at the time that I started, it became a passion. My passion that I had had during my life was gone for the time being. So passion is an important component in success. And my husband has always said, you have to do what you love, and then the money will come. And that goes for people in their teens all the way to people in their hundreds. We should all live that long. So, or not.
So Sonia, it sounds like you got to a place in your life where you were at a kind of a crossroads in a way. And you know, being in a place where you thought you were going to be content and happy, having built this beautiful home, which you love to do. I mean, that's one of the things you love to do, is to build houses. And then you got there and you were, oh dear, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, or this isn't fulfilling
Yes,
me.
it
And
was. I was at a crossroads. And in retrospect, now that I look back over my life, it seems like I was reinventing myself every 15 years or so. So we might all take a look at what has gone on with us and what we have become from that. So now that I look back on it, this stage in my life is just a continuation of every other stage, really, because part of what keeps us young, if you want to use that word, or ageless, which has become the tagline, is that you have to have the ability to reinvent yourself to stay relevant. And what I find is that when we get so involved,
oh,
life takes over instead of us taking over our lives. And that could be when women start feeling invisible.
mm.
None of us are invisible because that is our choice.
Wow, that That is very powerful, Sonia. So are you saying that when you get to these crossroads and you're needing to reassess, that it's actually within our power to then decide who it is that we want to be, the direction that we want to take, and how we're going to stay relevant in modern society or in our own lives?
Yes, or in the lives of our families. For instance, um, sometimes we think that the role that we are given or that life has given us, as it were, is the way we should be going. But it doesn't edify anybody, including your family members, when you act small. So if it is loving your grandchildren and playing with them, as a matter of fact, I did a, uh, a video for GE who's looking for the great American grandma. And there's a great opportunity there if you love your grandkids and you like to play with them and that's your whole life and you don't see past to that. GE is looking for somebody with all of that energy and they're willing to pay through the nose for a 1-year contract. Get on my blog and look under Great American Grandma. It is hysterical. So even though I couldn't do this because I'm doing that, that doesn't necessarily contradict. Am I making any sense?
Yes. So it sounds like, because I think what often happens, Sonia, is that as women, we think either or.
Yes.
Either I can be this and I can fulfill this role, or I can be that. So either I take care of my kids or I have a successful career. Well, in fact, in a lot of cases, we can have a bit of both, and we can
balance, huh?
yeah, and we often need to think. I mean, I remember going to a cocktail party one night and I met this fascinating woman who was a psychologist. And she was saying that so many times we think, and I think this is especially true for women, we think in terms of and we think of terms of either or. And she says, but what about if we shift our thinking to be and both? And I was blown away by that. And I've quoted that so many times and thought of that in myself as well. And what I'm hearing you say is that even within the space that you are, if you love taking care of your grandkids and that's your big joy in life, it doesn't mean that you can't do other things that also are an expression of your passion. You can take care of your kids and you could do something like be the grandma for a brand, and why not get paid for it?
Correct.
I'll link in the description below to that blog. I saw that blog. That was amazing, Sonia. Yeah.
But I had never, another thing is I have never had a problem making a fool of myself, which comes in very handy because I have never done a video in my life. And GE had contacted me and I said, one of my little words in my head is, what could go wrong? They can't kill you. Other than that, who cares? So I play the giddy goat. I've always played the giddy goat, as my British mother would say, and it's true to this day. And so that's what I have to say about that, really.
I love that, Sonia. I think as we get, well, I'm definitely finding as I'm getting older, instead of being so fearful of making mistakes or making a fool of myself, like what's the worst that can happen? And it often comes down to clothing. I find women are often very fearful of getting it wrong, of not managing to do it right. But what's the worst that can happen? You put an outfit together, it doesn't work, you take it off. It's not the end of the world. And I think so many times we take ourselves way too seriously, and that actually inhibits us being able to express who we are and be more of who we are. And girls, this is the time. Now is your time to do it, no matter what age you are.
Yes. It's actually my daughter, the stylist in LA, has shown me, and my husband too, who's got very good taste. He's shown me an outfit that I said I could never wear that. And actually, putting it on is a lot easier than changing your nail polish color. You would dare to wear coral on your nails. If you don't like it, you take it off.
Yeah.
Trying on a new outfit, a new silhouette, something different is even easier than the nail polish trick. So why don't you just, we have thoughts about how our figure should be and how we should represent ourselves. Well, I did a blog on archetypes, and we have many archetypes within ourselves. And as I get older, I've been allowing myself to play with some of them. And I played with them on Instagram. Instagram has been for me the less judgmental place I've ever been on. All of the women within this 45 and up age bracket that follows me, they are nothing but kind to me
Yes.
and to each other.
Yes.
So I can act the fool, I can tell a joke, I can wear an outfit that I would never be seen in public. As a matter of fact, I was on Hollywood Boulevard over Halloween in a red catsuit. And the caption for my Instagram account was, "What Not to Wear." So it's good to make fun of yourself. It's good to try new things. And I think that women should give themselves permission to get liberated.
Yeah, absolutely, Sonia. Love that. One of the things that you talk about on your blog is how to stay within your power as a woman, and especially during midlife. Could you speak a little bit more about that?
Well, we've touched on it in so many ways, and it's a very difficult thing to explain. But I get up in the morning and I know that nobody can judge me because judgment is something that you have to accept before it hits. So, for instance, you wonder why the British, if you've ever heard this, well, they turn the other cheek, just turn the other cheek. Well, there is a saying in uh, Buddhism, or pick your yogi, um, and it says that the only way a person can actually insult you or hurt you is if you accept that information. And that's what turning the other cheek is all about, really. Because there is nothing more frustrating to a person that's trying to get your goat, as my mother would say, or insult you or hurt your feelings, to not acknowledge that. Because if that arrow never hits, the person shooting the arrow gets more and more frustrated.
Yes,
That's why I don't engage in bad energy.
yes,
You
yes,
don't do that because you, by now, at any age, are so empowered within yourself, and God has empowered us to be who we are. How can something else take that away?
yeah.
You,
And
you
Thomas,
understand?
I agree with you that Instagram is an incredibly safe space for women, and especially women over 40, because I've, I'm part of that community and I see that community happening. It's really, really beautiful. On YouTube, you do often get, people who post really nasty comments, and often they're just trolls. They don't even look at your videos, and they'll just make comments based on your thumbnail. And it's so true what you say, because some of my subscribers, and I really appreciate them, they get very defensive when people make hateful comments towards me, and
Yeah.
I just let it go, because to me, I don't even acknowledge, like, I reply to every single comment that a person makes on my channel unless it's hateful. And if it's hateful, I ignore it because I don't even want to give it weight. I
Yes.
don't want to give it weight. If
Mhm.
it's a legitimate question and saying, oh, well, I don't think you should wear this because of that, but I'm wondering, I'll answer that, because that I can always answer with love and say, well, look, you all have your opinions and whatever. But if it's pure hate, I just do not, I don't accept it. I don't take it on, and I just let it go, because
Yes.
it doesn't give it the weight that they're
It,
wanting, because they're wanting a response, right? And I think it's the same. I think that, I've spoken to a couple of other amazing women, and they say that sometimes they get criticism because women are intimidated. Other women of a similar age are intimidated because they're going out there and they're doing these wonderful things, and it's, they always feel like they need to bring them down. And my thing is, just when that happens, to feel for that person, because that person can't allow themselves to experience freedom. And like you say, to be the crazy person and make fun of yourself,
And I'm glad that you brought that up because let me see how I can phrase this. I think that the pie is really huge. And my theory is there is no competition. And there is no competition because nobody is you. Nobody can pull off what you're doing. We're all completely individual people. And I never look at what another woman is doing on Instagram. I follow them, I appreciate them, but I don't think, oh my gosh, I should do that. No, because my heart or my sensibility is telling me I'm doing this, and this is working out to just fine. So there's room for absolutely everybody out there, and there is no competition. And when you think about using Instagram as a platform to start a business or whatever to monetize the account so you can afford photographer or this, that, and the other, the advertising revenue on Instagram is huge. When you think of the fact that they have been selling or attempting to sell us, for instance, skincare by 13 and 14-year-olds, as we were talking earlier, I had that was happening while I was in my 30s, and I'm thinking, as I told you, how dumb do I have to be to accept that as something that would work for me? If you're going to be real, you need to advertise to me with a person like me or a
Yes.
person my age. So there is no competition out there. All women are perfect as they are, and we all strive to be better human beings. We want better hair. I don't wear makeup, so I'd love to learn how. But then again, why? It goes back and forth. You don't have to be all things to all people. But I think the Fine Line magazine was asking me to write an article, which I did, about how I be. And I had a few ideas on that. I was slightly worried that I would get naysayers, uh, but I am who I am, and I put it out there. And what I said was the first thing you have to be is stay relevant. So look at magazines, take it. Don't use the hairdo that you've used forever. It's like changing an outfit. Try something new. Take care of yourself through exercise and diet. And by diet, I mean eating healthy, not curbing your appetite, just eating healthily. You have to work out, especially as we get older. There is absolutely no way around it. My legs used to be very weak. I had a lot of upper body strength because I would be moving 2x6s, right? So I've been working on my legs. And what also, I'm doing the crazy thing here, but I am also getting the neurons in my brain firing, and I'm keeping my mind occupied and working and pliable and strong. So it's aging, in my opinion. And I'm right, of course. Just ask me, I'll tell you.
That's amazing. I think that's great. So Sonia, I wanted to ask you, because I always have to bring it back to fashion, because this is a fashion channel. So tell me, what is your fashion philosophy? Like what is inspiring to you? Okay, can you not hear me? We've been having internet problems. Okay, I'm just gonna say again. Can you hear me, Sonia?
No, it's
No.
that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'll refrain. I'll ask you the question again. All right. So, as I said just now, we have to bring it back to fashion because this is a fashion channel. So tell our viewers what inspires you fashion-wise. Like, what is your fashion philosophy?
Oh, goody. I love to talk about fashion. Okay. So the first and foremost, the blanket fashion idea for me is I'm always as chic as possible. And chic to me means the words age appropriate did not just come out of my mouth, but anyway.
Okay.
To me means wearing neutral colors, classic silhouettes, more of a European sensibility. But then you always, in my opinion, should put in an edge. And my daughter, when she was in her late teens and she started studying fashion, she would come into my closet from school. She went to FITM in LA. She would come back and she would go through my closet and put things together. And that started informing me what I could really, really do. So back in the day, and it's still relevant now, take this boho dress, put this motorcycle jacket on here, and she'd give me a list of the things I would need. Very few. So in order to have a little bit of edge to your look, you need to take your classic style and put just a little zing in it. A little scarf with a little something, a little boho dress with a denim jacket, a little short boot with a long skirt. A little, I still wear heels. I think heels are important. I wrote a little, I have an Instagram post and I'm going into the door of Dino's in Highland Park. And Dino's is a cobbler, old fashioned word. And they can cut down your heel by just the little heel cap. And you'll be amazed at how much just that eighth of an inch difference makes on your ability to wear a high heel.
That's
So
interesting.
wow. So it's not an everyday thing. But wear your heels. For me, I have a contemporary way of dressing with a little edge to it, and that's all it takes.
Amazing. Thank you, Sonia. So the last question, because I have to ask this question to all of my interviewees, is what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun?
Yes.
Instagram account is my fun right now. I spend time with my husband out on the golf course. Of course, I love to travel, but we have an older dog and she's very reticent of new people around the house. So getting a babysitter for her has become more difficult. But to me, there's nothing more like the experience of going to a place you're not familiar with. And not being familiar with something puts you a little on edge and opens your eyes and is great fun. And I like anything that suspends gravity. And by that I mean I love to swim, I love to kayak, I love to fly, I love to parasail. I would jump out of an airplane if I could ask forgiveness, not permission, from my husband. That frightens him. I don't know why he's so frightened about losing me. A lot of the times I'm sure he thinks good riddance to bad rubbish, but no.
You're hilarious. Love it. Sonia, thank you so much. You've been an absolute treasure. I'm so excited. I'd love to hear from our viewers now in the comments below. Let us know what you think and what about, what did Sonia say that really resonated with you? What is your take home? What is something that you feel, yes, that's inspiring and you can do it too? I'll also put all of the links to Sonia's details, her blog, her Instagram account, also specifically the granny, yes, what was it called again, Sonia?
Great Grandma Search, I believe it's called.
The Great Grandma Search. I mean, that is so exciting.
It is very exciting, and you can make a buck or more than that.
I'm telling you. So I'll put all the details in the description below, so be sure to check that out. And if you haven't already, ladies, please subscribe to this channel if you want to be inspired and meet a lot of amazing women. On Fridays, I do interviews with inspiring women over 40, 50 and beyond, 50, 60 and beyond. I've spoken to many different ages of women, and on Tuesdays are my regular fashion tip days. So feel free to subscribe, hit that little bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified when I upload a new video every Tuesday and Friday. Love to hear from you, ladies. Please join our community as we encourage and inspire each other. Till next time. Bye.
Thank you.